Welcome to Dog Food TV on this Overreaction Monday. Dog Food TV is sponsored by Dog Food Store, premium sportswear brand for Cleveland football fans. You can find that at www.dogfoodstore.com. So let's go ahead and just get right into it, man. So, obviously, if y'all saw that game was never really close game. They never really had a chance. And it's an overreaction because I would say the game against the Steelers makes this loss that much more of a problem. If you came into this game 3-0 like you were supposed to, and you lose this game with a backup quarterback, who cares? You're 3-1. The Steelers lost yesterday. The Bengals got destroyed yesterday. I was actually at that game. They got destroyed. They got a rough stretch of their schedule coming. Outside of the Cardinals, they could lose every game the next 4 or 5 weeks. So you don't want to give away games. And obviously we know Nick Chubb got hurt in that Pittsburgh game, but the defense was in control. And the Pittsburgh defense was able to get 2 touchdowns, one off a scoop and score fumble, the other off of a pick six. When they announced that Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play, it was, it's a rookie 5th round quarterback. The defense can only do so much. And while you would have hoped that the defense could have did what they did against the first 3 weeks, against the Bengals, against the Steelers, and against the Titans, the reality of it is, to my knowledge, Joe Burrow's never won the MVP. Kenny Pickett has never won the MVP. Ryan Tannehill has never won the MVP. They were going against an MVP quarterback, a mobile quarterback at that. That was probably going to pose some challenges for them, even if Deshaun Watson played. So let's take a look at the numbers here. The Ravens rushed for 131 yards. They passed for 165 yards. They got 16 first downs. They went 4 and 12 on third down. Fourth down, they went 1 out of 1. They had 1 turnover, and they held the ball for 29 minutes and 50 seconds. When you look at those yards, what more do you want the defense to do? The rushing yards was a little bit high, but that had more to do with the amount of time they were on the field and fatigue likely setting in because the offense could do absolutely nothing. So for them to have given up 131 rushing yards to Lamar Jackson and company, that's not that bad. They didn't get gashed for 200 plus. 131 is less than what some of the bottom third teams are giving up, at least coming into week 4. So, I don't know all these people that are in the Browns media that are talking about, the defense, they got humbled and, maybe the defense isn't as good as we thought they were. That's an overreaction. I think the defense played great. I would still give the defense a B plus, if not an A minus. They still, if you look at these numbers, they still held them relatively in check. It was the field position game that they could never get in front of the 8 ball on. Let's look at the Browns. 93 rushing yards. Okay, you'd like to have seen more, but what this illustrates to me is that the ground game was actually getting a little traction. Now, I know in garbage time, there was a bigger run that was ripped off. Maybe that's what buoyed this number. But passing yards, 73. That doesn't surprise me with the 5th round quarterback. And it goes back to the critique that we've been talking about really since week 1. Play calling. Now that you have a running back by committee situation, I still think this offensive line can open up holes for the running backs, and they can get yards. And from that, you can use play action to get these receivers open, to get your tight ends open. What I don't understand, I haven't understood it with Deshaun Watson going empty, and I definitely don't understand it with a fifth round quarterback. Why are you going empty? The defense knows that you're passing it, unless you're going to mix in some quarterback draws into there. Now, that's one element that I wish I would have saw in the play calling, a little bit more of using the Ravens, what they do against them. Some design quarterback draws, some quarterback counters, some quarterback reads, getting the defense moving side to side. They never really had to guess what was coming. The offense through 4 weeks has been somewhat predictable. In times that they're not predictable, they're just a little bit stagnant. And so if it wasn't for the elite defense through the first 3 weeks leading up to this game, this team could easily they could have been 1-2 coming into the game. So you're sitting at 2-2, and that's not a bad place to be. But again, I'm not really going to hammer the fact that they lost because it was a backup rookie quarterback. And maybe if they held on to Josh Dobbs, maybe it's a little bit different. But based on what I saw with the play calling, I think with Deshaun Watson in there, you could have maybe managed 14 points. And, maybe the interception doesn't happen. But I still don't understand the situational play calling. I don't understand why the play action isn't used more to force the defense to make a decision. And maybe it's just when these plays are being called, that's where I think it's predictable. If you think about the Steelers game, they brought a blitz and that was on play action. But situationally, did that need to be a play action in that point in time? Your pass game wasn't even clicking anyway. It's like 6 minutes left in the game. Maybe you just hand that off and let your defense bring that home and play the field position game. In this particular game here, it's almost like they abandoned the run. Let's take a look at the quarterback comparison. Lamar Jackson, 15-19, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 142.5, QBR 64.4. First couple of drives of the games, the Ravens, it took them a minute to get going. And again, that's why I say I don't know what these people are watching that are talking down on the defense. The defense played, again, they would get nothing less than a B+ by my estimation, given the situation that they were in, constantly being on the field. It's a testament to how good they played that they really only gave up 28 when we just seen the team get ransacked for 70, and that was with a starting quarterback on the field. So it definitely could have been a lot worse. And, Lamar Jackson had one throw to Andrews that was, you just tip your cap to him on something like that. You can't stop that. And again, that's not the defense's fault. That's like when Steph Curry is pulling up from 40 with 3 people in his face and that goes in, you just tip your cap to that. That's just better offense. There's nothing you can do about that. But for the most part, again, you're looking at 15-19, 186 yards. They didn't get shredded. They didn't get shredded. I really, from what I saw, I think it was just fatigue. There wasn't complimentary football. DTR, 19-36, 121 yards, 3 interceptions. Quarterback rating of 25.5, QBR 18.7. The most alarming thing to me is 36 attempts. With a rookie 5th round quarterback, I would think you would want that number to be closer to what Lamar Jackson did, 19 attempts. So that would be roughly about 5 attempts a quarter. And, again, with 3 healthy backs, running back by committee, I just think there was more opportunity to try to establish the run and try to establish play action to give him some easy throws. And I said at the beginning of the year, that's what I think is going to be the biggest problem with this team is situational play calling. You know, I still think with the defense, as long as you don't lose anybody for a significant amount of time due to injury, the defense will get this team to the playoffs. No question in my mind. You saw the Bengals. I told y'all in the last videos, the Bengals can't stop the run, and Derrick Henry shredded them up. They're probably last in run defense right now. And if you remember, you're not winning the division. You're not going to the playoffs 9 times out of 10 if you are last in stopping the run. The Steelers got beat yesterday. I didn't look at the stats. I'm going to try to watch the game probably tonight or tomorrow night. But they are likely also going to be in the bottom third going into the next week from a defensive run-stopping perspective. This team, the Cleveland Browns, can stop the run. So there's no need to panic, and the season is far from over. And I would even argue, coming out of the bye, even if Deshaun Watson doesn't play and they drop the game, or even he does play and they lose the game to the 49ers and they start 2-3, you want health. You want the defense to be healthy and you want the offense to be relatively healthy. Obviously, Nick Chubb, that injury was a big blow, but they still have 3 running backs and an offensive line that can open up holes for the run. So going into the game against San Francisco, regardless of who's the quarterback, I hope that they are looking at ways to improve the situational play calling and figure out how they can marry the pass with the run, because it doesn't seem to be a system or where it's in sync, where it's like, okay, we got the defense moving this way, now let's hit them this way. It's almost like somebody's playing Madden and they don't really have their strategy. They just calling plays, like going through, okay, that one looks good. Now, again, these are world-class coaches. They know more than me. I'm not going to sit here and say I know more than somebody that's in the building scheming, installing game plans, because I know I don't. But when you watch the Chiefs, when you watch the Eagles, when you watch the Dolphins, it doesn't seem as much as a struggle for those teams to move the ball on offense. Even when the Titans have the running game going, they're able to get things going in the pass. So for the last couple of years with this particular team, with the Cleveland Browns, it's like a struggle trying to get the ball moving in the air. And that is the biggest thing that needs to be addressed. Even when Nick Chubb, was healthy, even going back to last season, I feel like situational play calling, they didn't let him just get the 1 or 2 yards. So what the defense knows that is coming is Nick Chubb, hand the ball off to him. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the team defense real quick after week 4. Now, you still have another game tonight. The Seahawks play somebody. So this could change depending on what happens in that game. But again, the Cleveland Browns defense is legitimate, because even after that game, getting 28 points hung on them, they are still ranked number 5 in team defense. Dallas Cowboys 1, Buffalo Bills 2, 49ers 3, who they're going to play in 2 weeks. Baltimore Ravens 4, who they just lost to. Kansas City Chiefs is 6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 7. All you Baker Mayfield fans, he has a top 10 defense. Number 8, Tennessee Titans. Number 9, New Orleans Saints. Number 10, Atlanta Falcons. So let's go to the passing defense. Remember, they allowed 165 yards through the air. Pass defense rankings after week 4. Who is still number 1? The Cleveland Browns. So all of the doubters after one game, which is why this is called Overreaction Monday, they are still the number one passing defense after week 4, after 4 games played. Again, that could change later tonight, but as of right now, they are number 1. Dallas Cowboys are number 2. The New York Giants are number 3. The Baltimore Ravens are number 4. Buffalo Bills 5. Atlanta Falcons 6. Carolina Panthers 7. Los Angeles Rams 8. Kansas City Chiefs 9. Houston Texans 10. Let's go ahead and look at the rushing defense after week 4. Seattle Seahawks are ranked first, but that is only with a 3-game sample size. Again, they play later tonight, and by the time you watch this video, that game may already have ended. So I don't know if they're going to stay right there. Detroit Lions are number 2. Philadelphia Eagles number 3. San Francisco 49ers number 4. Tennessee Titans number 5. Cleveland Browns number 6. Baltimore Ravens number 7. Tampa Bay Buccaneers number 8. Jacksonville Jaguars number 9. New England Patriots number 10. Now again, you see the Baltimore Ravens are right there with the Cleveland Browns in top 10 in rushing, top 10 in passing, and top 10 team defense. We can, if you didn't watch one of our earlier videos, we did a graphic that showed the top 10 run defenses since 1999. Typically, it was the Ravens and the Steelers. So another reason not to overreact is because the Browns are in rare territory for this franchise since 1999 because they are, I'll have to go back and look it up, but I don't know if they've ever been through 4 weeks top 10 in rushing, top 10 in passing, and top 10 overall. That typically has been reserved for the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and maybe once or twice the Cincinnati Bengals. I have to go look that up, but I know for a fact the Cincinnati or the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens have typically always been top 10 in defense, specifically run defense, which is why those franchises have won, 4 Super Bowls in 20 years, 23 years. So again, as long as this defense stays in the top 10 throughout the season, they're going to have a very, very good chance to make the playoffs. Now, the Steelers had Big Ben, who is a Hall of Fame quarterback. That doesn't hurt. Their offense also seemed to be able to complement the defense, and that's something that you're not really seeing right now. So on the off chance this team doesn't make the playoffs with the top 10 defense, specifically top 10 run defense, let's just say they stay top 10 in both categories, that's going to be a failure, extreme failure, because you just need the offense to be B-, just be competent, just get a few first downs, just play field position with a defense like that. The offense doesn't have to be all world. Let's wait till we get to week 10. Let's see what the offense looks like. Let's see if Watson is starting to really look like a top 5 quarterback again. And then we can make a determination on what the rest of the season is going to look like. So, again, there's no need to panic. This team they're in a good spot. Obviously, they're 2-2. You wish they were 3-1 and they didn't drop the Steelers game, but Deshaun Watson not playing, they were probably going to lose that game against the Ravens anyway. If anything, the defense showed you that if they had all of their horses with them, meaning on the offensive side, basically the leader of the offense in the quarterback, that game probably turns out a little bit differently. So we're going to take a little bit more of a deep dive after the Monday night game. We're going to look at these stats. We're going to look at the AFC North, and we'll see how it goes, as we're pretty much a quarter of the way through the season, which that's actually kind of crazy to say, but So, Dawg Food TV, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all on the next one.